Everybody, for those who have seen my Jeep Grand Cherokee on this channel before may notice something different about it. It looks a lot different now. Yes, I got it repainted. Finally, I got this thing repainted, and I'll say it definitely looks amazing. And I got this repainted at Maaco, and I must say they did a pretty decent job with it. So I want to talk about the paint job today and any questions y'all might have about Maaco. So I elected for the middle grade paint job from Maaco. It's known as the preferred paint job, and I also had them do the prep. So this vehicle used to have a lot of rust, and they took care of that. They got that sanded off and got it repainted, and I must say it looks really nice. They went back with the factory color. Now, got a little bit of dirt here. The thing is, what happened was when they parked it, they mistakenly killed the battery. These Jeeps, the ignition switch on them, when you turn it all the way back, it turns into accessory, and sometimes this one will let the key out even in accessory, and that's how it killed the battery. And what they had to do is, my parents went to pick it up and while I was at work, and they had to, of course, open the hood to jump it off. I'll have to wash that off here in about a couple weeks or so. They said to wait a little bit before washing the vehicle. But anyways, so again, this is the middle grade Maaco paint job. It's the urethane plus clear along with the urethane sealer. It has a 4-year prorated warranty. This job, what they did is they taped off everything like the windows, the headlights and stuff like that. Before I took it up there, I replaced this bumper with a brand new one, and also replaced the headlights, turn signals and side markers with new. That way it would look a whole lot nicer. Because let's face it, a freshly repainted vehicle looks a lot better when you have fresh headlights on it. So let's get you a closer look at everything. So of course this is not going to be a top job paint job, but I can say though it's definitely not bad at all for the price. So I paid roughly $1,500 for this paint job. Now the big question is, will it hold up? That remains to be seen. After about a few weeks or so, I'm going to give it its first wash and give it a good wax. It's funny, I've had this vehicle for 14 years, and used to be, it was like, due to the paint not being in the best condition, it was like, nah, we'll wash it, but you know, now it's like, okay, we want to take care of it. But I want to say that they did a great job with the taping off and everything, because I mean, you have to get real close to even notice that it was taped off. Like for example, right there, there's a tad bit of overspray. Nothing too major. Now what's crazy is they actually painted the door lock, or where the key goes in. That wasn't painted originally. Not sure what to think about that, but what they did is they took all the emblems off, and they did save those for me. I'm gonna probably end up having to buy new ones, the ones I can find new, and try to restore the ones that I can't find new or can be restored. So as far as Maaco goes, Maaco tends to have sort of a bad reputation, and the reason why is because Maaco, they are a franchise, kind of like McDonald's in a way. Every location is going to be different. So the location I used for this was the Mooresville, North Carolina Maaco, and they have a lot of great reviews. Matter of fact, one of my neighbors in this neighborhood had his car painted there last year, and it turned out really good, and that was what sold me on trusting Maaco for this. But here's a look at the passenger side. So yes, this thing, it used to look pretty bad. These vehicles from Chrysler from that era, they were infamous for having a crappy clear coat on them, so the clear coat would fail, and of course once the clear coat failed, it was all downhill from there. And of course we are in spring. It's March 2025, so we of course have pollen. But yes, overall I'm really impressed with it. Again, we'll have to see how it holds up with time. I should note that they did not paint inside the door jambs. Now, of course, the interior of this thing needs a little work. The seats are in pretty rough shape. The front seats are. The back seats are great because they've never been sat in. But really, it's mainly the seats that are in the most need of help in this thing. My uncle replaced the headliner, but he didn't. Years ago, my uncle replaced the headliner, but he didn't do this part. So yeah, that's going to be dealt with. Dash overall is in decent condition. This vehicle has 335,000 miles on it. Had it for 14 years, if I didn't mention already. I got it in March of 2011, so had it exactly 14 years now. It had 223,000 miles on it when I first got it. So, Maaco, as mentioned, the level of service will depend from location to location. Matter of fact, in this area, people say to avoid the North Tryon location, which is in Charlotte. Everybody says go to Mooresville. So it really depends on your area. I suggest that you research your local Maaco, research some other Maacos around where you're located, and just, I mean, like I say, really impressed with this overall. We'll just have to see how it holds up. Get you some more close looks here. Like I say, there's pollen everywhere now. Really am pleased. Don't really have to say too much because really I think the video speaks for itself. Yeah, I should note that I have, before I opted for this, I looked up online videos on YouTube of Maaco preferred paint jobs, like 4 years, 5 years, 6 years after they're done. And generally with Maaco, you want to avoid the cheap level paint job because it's enamel. They're notorious for not holding up with time. Matter of fact, the sales rep at Maaco told me if you plan to keep the vehicle, we suggest you go with the preferred or the premium paint job. So the basic is enamel base paint. They just basically, it's very minimal prep. They spray the vehicle with enamel paint. Preferred is, again, it's the urethane clear. It's a single stage that includes the clear coat. And when you have also the urethane sealer, they do give you a 4-year prorated warranty when they do the prep. So again, the hood was the portion that was the worst overall, and like I said, there's pollen all over the place. But again, you look at the hood, and of course, again, lots of pollen. Looks a whole lot better. So the premium paint job, I think, would have cost me over $2,000, probably close to $3,000 maybe, with the prep work and everything. The premium is I think it's a 2-stage paint job with a clear coat. It's more like a paint job that your car gets on brand new. However, I will note that Maaco, again, Maaco has a bit of a bad rep because, well, you're not going to get the same quality of paint job that, let's say, a real paint shop will give you. Real paint jobs from like big paint shops, or I want to say they're probably up to $5,000 to $10,000. And of course, for an older vehicle, who's going to spend that kind of money on a paint job? So again, $1,500 is what you get right here from, at least in this area, in March of 2025. Now, if you look, you might find sales, so it's definitely worth checking into that. But yeah, really impressed overall. Now, when they painted this grill, there was a little bit of overspray on the AC condenser, but it's not bad. I probably should have suggested they take the grill off. It's literally 4 Phillips head screws and it comes right off. But anyway, still though, I mean, I've seen videos on YouTube of some Maacos doing a really horrible prep job, but that wasn't the experience I had. So this bumper again, I bought it off of Amazon. It was about $400. It wasn't exactly cheap, but it's a replacement front bumper because the bumper that was on this thing wasn't really bad condition, and it had a license plate hole in the front, which I didn't want. Now, for example, if you look up in here, I think there was a spot where they didn't quite get really good coverage around the fog lamp. But like I say, you're not really gonna notice that unless you like look right on it. But yes, this is a Jeep ZJ Maaco preferred paint job. And what they did is they went with the factory color because that's what I want, was a factory color. And I'll say that the color that they painted it with almost perfectly matches the factory color. It's just a tad bit off. There's probably a little bit of a spray right in here between the doors, but you can see the original versus the new. Now, of course, the original probably has faded with time, but I really like it. I really do. Like I say, I'll try my best to keep up with maintenance on it, keep it waxed and everything. Hopefully it'll hold up. Ideally, I would like to have a carport built here. Sorry about the noise, we're building houses across the street from me. But ideally, I wish I had a carport here. That's something I might look into to keep it out of the sun, because that's what, the sun will eat up a paint job in no time if you don't keep up with waxing and stuff like that. But yes, if you're interested in a Maaco paint job, this is at least my experience. Overall, it was good. Again, it all depends on the specific Maaco. It all depends on who's doing the paint job and who is doing the taping and prep work. Because honestly, there are some people who actually do care about the work they put into a vehicle, and there's some that just don't really give a crap. And I've seen that too online about Maaco. Again, it depends on your location. So, anyways, if you have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comments. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.